Uh,
Jay, are you the first one up?
Yeah, big shout out to you, Phil. You're doing a great work
Thank
because
you.
the moment you said David McKnight, he asking to be present, that's a big stuff. I have been
Right?
to many places where I have to pay to attend hundreds and hundreds of dollars,
Hmm.
where they pay thousands of dollars to the speakers. And I have seen the same speaker last year and the same speaker now coming back and hey, I want to be part of yours. That speaks the great work and the value that we are delivering.
Yeah, and I appreciate that, man. It's gonna be great. Like all the different concepts that we have, and it's all for the embetterment. Like, I mean, everyone here knows that, my journey in wholesaling, seeing how different people run different models, to go out to do it myself and to really grow from that value proposition of let's do better for our communities. Yeah, we can build organizations, agencies, we can do it better. And, really we want the customer to win and not so much, trying to feed our way up a food chain or a comp chain, based on how many dead bodies we put in a scheme. So, yeah, I appreciate that, Jay. And I'm very excited for this event. It's going to be great. So I appreciate the kind words.
Yep.
Um, so now that I see you came off mute, you got a question?
Philip, question on these lunch and learns that you're doing throughout the country, is
Mhm.
that primarily just for your RISE partners or is it open to all of us?
It's primarily for the Rise partners. So what I would say is that if you have people though in the areas, so for example's sake, we do have one in Dallas. JP and Preeti are going to be the ones hosting that event, and looking forward to it. But if you have people who are interested in going as well, I'm not opposed to that, and I don't think Jay or Preeti would be opposed to that either,
Now,
because.
you are welcome to be there.
Yep. So as long as they like Italian food, these are all at like Maggiano's, except for Sacramento. The guy picked Ruth Chris. I'm like, are you kidding me? But they're all Italian food. My wife's 25% Italian, but doesn't like Italian food. So I'm like, any chance I can get it, I will. But yeah, no, you're welcome to come, bring some friends, and let's learn and let's grow together. So that's the big thing. Um,
Appreciate you, Phil, and appreciate you, Jay. Thank you for the invite.
I'll put email ID and contact number of mine. So please reach out to me just in case if you want, or just go to this website, register yourself.
I
yeah.
will. I will.
Yeah.
Okay, just a quick one. What part of Dallas are you based in?
So I live in McKinney, but this event is in Plano.
Okay, got you. Okay, thanks.
All right, guys. So let's dive in. What I'll do is I'll show you a couple things. And tomorrow, again, what we're going to be doing is we're going to talk about field underwriting, really. So that's kind of on the docket for tomorrow at 4 o'clock Central. So just to kind of give you guys a preparation for that, we started working on the deck for that. But what I'll do today is I want to share with you guys. So once again, Valor is a sub GA of 3 Mark, and I think it's probably important to understand. I did this a long time ago, but I want to just kind of explain the hierarchy of how the industry works, because a lot of people start writing out things incorrectly and trying to understand how the industry works is pretty unique. We have a great industry, but it can often be muddled with a lot of 3 letter acronyms, whether you're talking about organizations or IMOs, FMOs, whatever you want to call it. So, what I like to do is give a simple understanding, first and foremost, of the foundation of where we are and how that equates to how it is in the industry. So, when you want to think about it, all the way at the top, you're always going to have the insurance company, okay? Or all of the insurance companies. Okay. And then what we figure out from here is how is the insurance company going to get their products to market? Now, in the traditional way, the insurance company used to have a career force that would sell their products. So when you think about that, you talk New York Life, AIG did have a career force, MetLife did, all these companies, and all of them just seem to be chopping away because it's a very cost prohibitive type of industry. So what happened was when you think of career, their number one priority is to the insurance company. It's not really to the consumer. The objective is always the career person is to sell the insurance product for the insurance company. Now, if we fast forward and we look at career, I'm going to take it off the plate for right now. Understand it is still there. But in the 80s and 90s, what started to come about was these, they call them IMO, okay, IMOs, and it stands for Independent Marketing Organization. Now, the Independent Marketing Organization, what they would do is they would go out to what are called BGAs, which stands for Brokerage General Agencies. And they would go to several of them to pool the production so they, as an IMO, can get top comps from the insurance companies to give top comps to their BGAs to get more agents to sell their products. So, insurance company, independent marketing organization, brokerage general agencies. The BGAs are what's designed to sell to bring agents in, give them contracts, and then have them sell whatever they want. Because these BGAs have several companies. They have, like us, we have 30 different carriers at our fingertips. If you're not, a traditionalist and understanding the industry, then 30 carriers can seem like a lot. But there's ways around that too, and I'll kind of get to that. Then what we have, so to use an example of names of popular IMOs, we have Libra, which is probably the biggest IMO in the country. It's about $500 million in life insurance a year in overall production. You also have Integrity. Integrity has been buying up with private equity a bunch of other BGAs to shift from places like Libra and others to go under Integrity to grow their bottom line. Integrity is probably about 140 to 240 million dollar organization. So then you'll have IDA, which is Insurance Designers of America. They were purchased by Libra. And then you'll have just other carriers out there. Ash is another one. And so there are these big IMOs. And then you go down to these BGAs who work with the IMOs. They have like boards, member boards, and stuff like that. But if you look at Three Mark, that is a BGA. They've got 30 plus carriers, they've got life, they've got annuities, they've got DI, LTC, all that stuff at their fingertips. And what they do and what we've done is through Valor, what we've created is a sub GA. So we're a general agency that partner with Three Mark, use their licensing, use their case management and their underwriting to benefit our clients. In this model, we do not have to, work for the insurance company. We work for ourselves and we work for our customers. So a lot of times in this scenario, what I've always told people is if you could imagine someone is painting a picture of you, a portrait of you. You have 30 different artists because underwriting is a different, it's an art, not a science. So if you have 30 different artists painting different pictures of you, you get to pick which one you want to put over your mantle. If I work for just the insurance company, you're getting one picture. If I make a Picasso, you don't like Picasso, tough cookies, that's all I got. So this is one method that has been created in the industry, but as of late, what you're finding is there are a couple other ones that come to mind. Now, insurance companies don't typically give out contracts directly to an agent. Why? Because an agent is prone to potential chargebacks. And if there's too many chargebacks, like I have one guy who wrote some final expense policies with me and magically disappeared from the industry, and now I have to pay $2,000 back to the company. Insurance companies like to have a buffer in the way to make sure someone can pay the debt. So what came out, more recently than not, you'll have companies that are called MGAs, which are master general agencies. And with them, what they typically have is about 3 to 4 carriers that they shift all their business to. So they're not as big as an IMO. They don't want to be as big as an IMO. They want to just have a few carriers and rock and roll with those. And then ultimately, keep a direct contract with the carriers to have that direct line. But the difference is they don't have that internal support, like the infrastructure, like a case manager and underwriter and things like that. They're typically lean and mean, so there's like 4 or 5 people in the MGA, and they have to create their own licensing, their own everything built in with these 3 to 4 carriers. And then at that point, once again, you go down to agents below that, and then agents, over here. So in either of these cases, though, there is some gateway between the insurance company and the agent at the bottom. Now, the other one that's been getting extremely popular, but for different contexts, are the multi-level marketing groups. Okay. So in these, once again, they typically start out with 1 to 2 carriers and they over embellish on those 1 to 2 carriers, maybe 3. Then they leverage the amount of dollars they've done with those carriers and then add a third one once everyone's got bored with the other 2, then a fourth one, then a fifth one, and then it goes on and on and on. In this scenario, though, compared to the others, it is a recruiter focus. And the idea of a family environment is often perceived inside a multi-level marketing group. Now, what I've seen and what I hear from the people who have this family mentality, a lot of times when they talk about family mentality, it's for control. And so when you think about the recruiter models, typically the compensation starts around 20 to 40%. And then you'll usually have a field builder who will go on apps with these people and they'll do a 50-50 split even on that. Over here in the BGA world, you'll typically have anywhere from 50 to 70% if you're brand new, and then you can work your way up through production versus recruitment. Over here, it's more recruitment focused versus production. So there's a difference between the models, and in theory, there's really no bad model. Okay. I'm not gonna belittle multi-level marketing because there's a time and place for everything. But I often make a joke, and people say to me when I say this joke, well, did he really say that? In theory, communism also works, right? But once you put it in human practice, you've got a problem. So what I find is in the wrong hands, any one of these can be a detriment to the customer. Um, I'm not a fan of having recruits lead to higher comps because I think the customer loses in that mindset. Several of the people on this call, unfortunately, have witnessed that either through their own purchases or through, seeing other people sell it. Whereas, our job is to really focus on the needs of the customer. Did someone say something? I thought I heard something. Okay. So kind of understanding the breakdown and the value proposition of what you have over here. So if you are an agency manager and you're talking to someone having a comp fight, you have to understand the value of everything we bring together. Like, no one is going to talk to you about the stuff that we're talking about tonight in a typical model, but I want to make sure that people know, because the devil's in the details, how things are set up and understand why things are set up the way they are. Some people get pissed off because you get a 6 month wait for transferring to another agency on your carrier that you love so much. But that's because the insurance companies care more about their BGAs, MGAs, and MLMs than they do the agents, because that's the buffer. As you can see, that is the line or the buffer between the insurance company and the agents and chargebacks. So they want to take care of their top line people first. So I want to throw that out there to kind of talk about the fundamental things, and then we'll dive into a couple things that we'll explain some advantages here as well from our standpoint. But does anyone have any questions on this? Was it helpful? I don't want to do anything unless it's helpful.
It is really helpful.
Okay,
Let me
good.
add a few comments here.
Sure.
Uh, I'm not sure like how many of us in this group are less than 1 year in the industry. To even understand these things, you got to be at least 1 year in the industry. So I've seen all this, and out of these three major models that Phil explaining here, let's say if I have two or three clients who's ready to submit some policies, I just have to apply for my contracting with the carrier, which might take 1 week to 1 month or sometime 2 months. Until I get contracted, I can't even run an illustration and I can't even submit anything. So on the other side with 3Mark and the portal that support that 3Mark has, I don't need to wait for my contracting. I can do my application parallelly with contracting. And that too, it's free. And number two, even if I don't know anything about how to submit, we have the case managers always available. Look, I mean, underwriters that's who are available, who can give us the complete information about how we can proceed, with which company we can proceed, what's the best bet that we have. So in my past, I used to submit for company one. If company one rejects, company two. If they reject, company three. If they reject, there is no more companies available. Now we don't have to go to that route. I've I've at least had 2 to 3 clients in my last 3 months who came to me asking, "Hey, I got AAG and North American both rejected my application. I got your referral from one of my friend. Can you help me? I got a high diabetes." So we have options here. We have experts like Phil and also, the underwriters, case managers who are ready to help us. Hey, give us some little detail about the client. We can shop it with all the carriers. Let's see who can offer something to this client. So we will shop with 30 carriers and then pick the best, whoever is ready to work with, and then we go with that one company. So a lot of times this saves a lot of time. And let me tell you my other experience. Even if I submit an application, let's say in any other model, I don't have any support on a daily basis. If I want to make sure my application gets processed faster, I got to call the company. Hey, what's the update? Is there anything pending from my side? Is there anything? Can you speed up this process? I had to be on the call, talking, calling them like that is 30 minutes every day. Here, the morning open my email, I see some updates from the case manager saying, hey, this is the progress, this is what is pending, just give us as soon as possible. I don't need to make a lot of phone calls waiting on this, lines. It's so quick. Most of the times I see it's so quick. See, all of us will stay in the industry as and when you see more paychecks keep coming. If that has to happen, we have to work as fast as we can, and not just one person. Take all the other helping hands available who is readily available for us. That's my experience with Phil. And I would say as long as you submit cases, it's happening so fast and the best results we are seeing. That's my experience.
Jay, I need to pay you for your promotions here. I
Yeah, this
appreciate the kind words. It's the
uh,
shining star of my day. So thank you.
somebody who just starts with you, they may not know this. They
Yeah.
might think this is the way industry works, but we are in the best place. It's everything is happening for you. It's so easily.
Well, the best part is doing it with the people that we appreciate to work with. So, this is, and I've seen the models, I've seen the designs. And so to kind of like dive into, what the premise of, why I did that in the first place was, Jay, you alluded to it, is in the background or the process in the past, what we would find is that shoot, I gotta wait forever for, carrier X to approve my documentation and everything. The cool thing about the industry is when you get started, especially with someone like a BGA, and I don't mean to overly promote 3Mark because obviously that's who we work through, but you know, to kind of take you through the process. So let's say, for example's sake, Jay, you have a client. Client had picked, maybe they picked Mutual of Omaha, and you're like, I'm not appointed with Mutual of Omaha. Shoot, I got to get appointed with them. So what the easy part is that after we do the initial contracting, so I always say get like three or four carriers under your belt. But then once you get registered on this portal and you need to go back and do contracting again, you can just go to online contracting, contract with SureLC. So once again, it is in the here and it's tied to your SureLC account because then you log in here. I hit login. And you just go down to the right hand side with requests, right hand, left hand side, long day, and I hit create request. So here, you type in Mutual of Omaha, click on that, contract, next, and you go through the process. So at this point in time, we have not submitted any contracting yet. We don't have we don't have a appointment or anything with them. A lot of carriers, here's the secret, a lot of carriers won't even get you a contract until you actually submit your first piece of business. Why? Behind the scenes, Cheryl C charges the agency about $8.75 for every contract they submit. But we don't charge to provide contracts for people. But they also say, hey, do you really need 30 carriers? Because some people get in here and like, I got to get everybody. You don't. Okay. So unless you live in Pennsylvania, Pennsylvania is a pre-appointment state. Everywhere else, I hit contract, I go through the process, and then the next step is I go right to application. So where we have forms and I click on forms and I go, launch forms and I go. And on the main page here, you got all your applications if you want, but let's go digital because that's the best way to go. Log in and we start a new case. So if, for example's sake here, I'll do Phil Resch, 12/22/81 and male last time I checked. So let's just say, for example's sake, I'm in Tennessee and I want to get term insurance. Keep in mind, the most important thing is like, say, for example's sake, like right now I'm in North Carolina, let's say I was soliciting Phil Resch in Tennessee, I have to make sure that I have a non-resident license before I can even do an appointment with the carrier. I have to have a non-resident license in that state to solicit the business. So if I was talking to Phil Resch in Tennessee, I'm here in North Carolina, then I would go on to NIPR and then do that first, and then I would submit this case. Okay, so just frame of reference and step-by-step process. So here I hit find available products, and like a kid in a candy shop, we got everybody here. Okay. So if, for example's sake, I wanted to do, let's go with, Corebridge. Okay. So you'll see two choices. There's the flex term simply now, and then there's a QOL flex term. Corebridge, or formerly AIG, has two term products. For those who don't know, QOL stands for quality of life. It has living benefits. So like National Life Group, but better. Or select a term, which is just their basic term. So you'll have flex term here, and then you'll have simply now. So pretty much all the time you're going to go into simply now because that's the idea of getting non-med. First step is they're going to ask about my information. Okay. And they got to verify my information first. So if I don't have an agent code, what I can do is I can put in my NPN number. And then my agency name is Valor. Okay. And then it'll say validate. Well, let's say it doesn't have anything for me. Okay. I don't know why the hell that came up. All right. So is there going to be any split commissions? No. Let's try it again. Actually, I apologize. With when you're doing it for the first time with Corebridge, you'll not want to do the Simply Now application because you can't verify without having an actual code. So let's say Phil Resch, 12 2281, male, Tennessee, not Rhode Island, Tennessee, term. Okay, let's do the non-simply now. Hit select. And now it starts the application. Okay, so the whole idea of the application, I like to say, is get the yellow out. U.S. citizen, yep. What's your social? Well, obviously, I'm not going to put that because I'm recording it. Country of birth, USA. Date, birth state, good old New York. I like to say I'm a New Yorker, not a New Englander. Current address, Tennessee. You get the idea here. So, once again, the idea is to get the yellow out. Once you get the yellow out, you'll get a little green checkbox over here. Like, so if I did coverage, and let's say, for example's sake, I did standard on tobacco, I did $1 million term, not 100,000, million. And reason for insurance, what's the basic reasons why people buy insurance? You got, estate planning, it could be family protection. You usually have income replacement, mortgage protection, whatever. Um, a maximum of three. Excuse me, I went crazy. I'll take estate planning off. So term, let's do a 20-year and no other policies at this time. As you can see in the top left here, coverage information is now green. Once they're all green, you are good to go. So let's skip down to the big question that we have here is the agent report. So if I go on the agent report, it'll say, hey, Danielle Resch, what's the deal? So this is where I can put 1588338. That's actually mine, not my wife's code, but Dollar Financial Specialist. Oh, agency. Oh, sorry. That is, I think it's like Q536 or something like that, but it's not a big deal because it's going to be submitted through 3Mark anyway. No other commitments or commission splits. No, 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 no. Yes, not applicable. No, no. Oh, and now see a green checkbox. So what's going to happen is, I just want to show you this. If you don't have an agent code yet, you can put pending, you can put your social, you can put your NPN, and that's all you need. Because then once you go through and you lock it and you send it, it has a spot where it hits 3Mark first. 3Mark gets the digital application. They slap on top of it the contracting and send it all to the carrier at the same time. So at the same time, they'll be doing the processing of the contracting that they're doing the application, and then it goes forth as processed. So this was a question from one of the agents on this chat today. So I wanted to ask Miss Agent, does that make sense? I know you like to ask questions, so I want to see first. I'll come to you after Joanna. I want to see if I've answered her question.
Yes, it does make sense.
Awesome.
I'll be doing
Awesome.
it tomorrow.
Yes. Okay, good, good. So just want to make sure it's very easy. You already submitted the contracting. Next step is just do the regular QOL flex term, not the simply now. Joanna, you have a
Yeah.
question.
Yes, I wanted to ask, maybe lack of my knowledge is in that question. I wanted to ask, like, for example, when is the point that you get a quote and you choose which carrier to use?
That is also a great question. And so what I would say is that if we backpedal for a sec, because we're going to use the easy one first, and we'll talk about term insurance. Okay. So if I were to talk to a client, and let's say, and Giselle and I have had this conversation too, uh, Mr. and Mrs. Client, are you a visual person or do you mind just having a conversation? And I like to ask a lot of questions because when you ask the questions, then it's a dance. You ask a question, they respond, you ask another question, and you're leading them down a pathway. So we get to the point where we figure out they need $1 million of coverage. Do you want to rent it or do you want to buy it? Renting is term insurance, buying is permanent, and then we figure out what's your monthly budget. You can do a financial needs analysis and figure out exactly how much they have. We have an Excel sheet if you need it to do an F&A, but let's just say they're going to stick with term. Okay. So on our portal, on our site here, if I highlight over quotes, and you'll see I have term UL quotes here. So I click on term UL quotes, and this is really designed more for term insurance, just so you know. So the middle one here says vital quote, and I'll click launch vital quote. Now, what this is this is just like if you were competing against someone who their client was like, your client's like, well, I went on Select Quote, I went on Xander, I went on, Lemonade or all these other, tech companies, we can do the same thing. So if, for example's sake, I hit full quote, and we'll just say good old Phil Resch, 12/22/1981, male, Tennessee, $1 million. Again, I am not preferred. I'd kill for standard right now. And let's just say 20 years. Now you see it just threw in 41 carriers over here. My favorite one to look at is actually going to be this quick report, years level report. I'm actually going to show it at preferred though, and I'll show you why in a second. So even though I'm saying standard, I want to do years level and I want to see what options we have. Now, if there's a bunch of people in the way, like picture wise, because again, I only have one screen, I would say hide them or whatever, because this will take up probably the whole screen. But this will show you basically a termite stream. Someone who loves to sell just term insurance, this has everything. So what you'll see here is select quote from AIG is number one for Corebridge. You'll have Banner, Protective, Symetra, Pack Life. These are what I call your termites. These guys are usually in the top five all the time or close to. And you'll see you're literally fighting over pennies. So, kind of going back to the conversation I started with, you have 30 different artists giving you 30 different visions of yourself with this self portrait. Now, if it were me, I would not go towards these top five because with them, this conversion privilege is only 10 years. They don't have a conversion product that's worth anything. Protective, I'm not a huge fan of their permanent portfolio suite. This one does not have any conversion privileges on it, and this only goes to a GUL. So you're really fighting over price, and you'll see also here that you can see the pricing for standard as well. So that's why I like showing both so people have an idea, set expectations. So I like to go with the ones that have some convertible options. This with CER is convertible extension rider. It's 7 years for Symetra. Their Swift term, I've gotten a 50-year-old done in a day for $3 million. The one thing you won't see on Vital Suites here is the QOL product. The reason is that Vital Quote for some reason has not integrated the other, AIG product, the QOL Flex term. So I show this spreadsheet, and if you see here, 82, and let's just go down, we're down like 10, and it's $90.84. One, two, three, one, two, same company, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. All right, 11. Now, if I wanted to, I can go here to WinFlex Web, and I can hit Launch WinFlex Web. And Joanna, this is where you would do your permanent cases. So WinFlex Web has all the carriers in one spot, or most of them, I should say. So if you're looking for like Lafayette for whole life, they're not in here. You'd have to get a contract with them to illustrate that. But you'll see they start out with a slew of carriers right off the bat, QOL being one of them. And let's just look at their flex term. So if I take the same 43-year-old me and we'll do preferred because that was what the other screen showed, Tennessee, we do 1 million 20-year policy options monthly. You get rid of this ART rate. And I'm going to hit calculate. So I did this kind of fast and I apologize, because I'm already seeing we're 45 minutes in and I just want to make sure, we get through some stuff. But you'll see here QOL flex term. Click on the PDF and it's 89.95. So if I go back here, crap, I got rid of it. So 89.95, I'm not going to mess with it, is probably ranked number 8 in all of those term quotes that we saw. Again, fighting over pennies. But when you think about that, this product has full living benefits up to the $1 million. It has full conversion privileges too to the full portfolio. So if I want to convert to the death benefit focused IUL or the accumulation focused IUL, I can do that because I have options with this term product, which I don't with a lot of the other carriers. So I tell people it's almost like, here's all your others and here's the one that I would recommend and show them this one, to be quite honest, because AIG or American General is always have the sanctity of pricing on their products, but then you have the living benefits on top of it. It's a huge value proposition for the customer. So that's why I like them. I'm not biased, don't get me wrong. I've told people to use other carriers several times, but that's where the underwriting comes in. So everyone on this call, extremely healthy. You guys will probably all get preferred plus. So if you go with a carrier that is very specific on their pricing with Preferred Plus, you're going to win. Me, I would have to look at another carrier like a Prudential who favors weight tables a little bit better. So, Nacho, we can do that now if you want. Okay. Yeah, so like I said, the beauty of this is we can do whatever the hell we want. So it's not like a formal training, right? So yeah, I mean there's information. Oh, there it is. Damn it. It was behind the little record guy. Sorry, guys. So yeah, 89 and some change. So you're right around number 10, 8 or 10. So, and it all varies by gender, age, face amount, risk class. All these numbers will change. So, um, Joanna, does that help from your standpoint? Okay. Okay.
Yes,
Philip,
thank you.
Yeah, no.
Philip, quick question. Whenever I'm running these reports and I'm trying to download them,
Yeah.
it'll only download the first page and I can't get to the other pages to download. What am I doing wrong?
Well, there's a lot of things you're probably doing wrong, but well, let's see here. So test page 2. So what I would say is just make sure you're hitting that little guy right there.
I
But
do hit that.
yeah, I
When I open up the PDF later on, it'll only have the first page on it.
this is kind of funny. I'm giving tech advice to an Indian, but I'm just saying. Um, no, maybe we'll take that one offline because if you could try the bottom one. So when we hit the quote here on the bottom, once it goes back, so view quick report, do the year's level report. So if you get 2 pages, just see if you can get when you do it a print. And once again, you'll have the print logo or the download logo. Just make sure it's the download versus print, because if you did print, it would only print a PDF. It would only show the first page. But yeah, we can take that one offline. That's not a big deal.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Anytime, buddy. So let's say, for example's sake, we'll jump into the permanent sales here. And what I also like to do, I don't know if I still have it up. So I'll just give you a quick rundown of, say, different strategies for different ages. Okay. So when you think about the time span of what you would have for someone who's going through the motions of working, right? So we'll say like ages 20, and then we get all the way up to like, let's just say 70 is the peak age, because some people like to work longer. My dad's 71 and he's still working, which my dad will also be at the Great Collaboration. So if you guys come, you could tell him how awesome I am. So just one of those little daddy, complexes, I guess. So anyway, let's just say between 20 to about 45, you have most of the conversation is going to be around accumulation. Okay. I'm talking for typical people because I know some people in the latter years will still talk about accumulation. But in these scenarios, 20 to 45, you're thinking about customers who want a death benefit that's very low with an accumulation focus that's very high. Okay. And then you usually want to supplement, I'll just say sup with term to give them the total need. Do we get paid to say that? No. You're not getting paid to compliment me, Roshni. Come on. Should come
I'm
from the
sorry,
heart.
Phil. I was just kidding there. Little fun.
Should come from the heart, okay? No,
Yes, I'll try my best.
I appreciate
I'm
it.
kidding there again.
I know, it's all good. So, what we have here is when you think about the idea of compounding, right? So, if someone is going from 20 to say 70, you can do very incremental, say like 250 to 500 per month going towards, say, a LIRP plan, life insurance retirement plan. I am not a big fan of doing the LIRP plans that are like $100 or $50. They usually don't end up the way people want to. So what I would say is serious people, 250 to 500 per month would be the best way to go. If they want to do less than that, we can do a Roth IRA with National Life Group. That starts at a minimum of $100. So that's very much similar concept or story, just different carrier, and you can still take care of the client. Okay, so what you're going to see though is you'll have a little crossover here between, say, 45 and 55. Now, in this area, I'm going to put a line here, so not to get confused, right? The 45 to 55 have a combination of either accum or death benefit focused. Why? Some people may be winning the accumulation game, but something that can severely hinder or hurt them in the long run is not having the proper planning in place in advance, be it your death benefit. That could also include things like long-term care. We have solutions in a death benefit focused product to give you long-term care type solutions. So in this, what the focus though is, as you can see, is death benefit. That's not PB, not PB and J. That's DB, death benefit. I'm drawing like this. So when you do solves inside the software, which we'll see in a minute, you'll see when you either have one of two variables. So accumulation, you usually have the premium. Death benefit, you usually have the DB, and you're solving for premium, or you're solving for DB. Okay. Now, someone 45 to 55, their horizon to retirement is smaller. Remember, the idea of a LIRP, life insurance retirement plan, is designed around a long play, not a short play. The first 10 years, you have to think of it more as an insurance policy. Then after that, you're going to have the cash explode because the costs go down and you'll see great tax-free income. But when you get to 45 to 55, you're closer to retirement, so you should be doing at least 1,000 per month or higher. If someone is okay doing 500 per month, once again, explore the idea of a Roth IRA or see if the gross is worth the grief with the LIRP plan. Some people might like it, some people might not. But again, it's all about the proper balance. Okay. Death benefit, like I said before, we know the face amount, we don't know what the premium is, and we want to figure out if it makes sense for the customer to go forward. So that's where when you look at about 50 to 70, really it's the death benefit conversation in this world. So 50 to 70 is death benefit, long-term care. They're past the point where they can do a LIRP plan. And so at that point, you really want to preserve what they have with things like long-term care protection. You ladies, the best thing to do is talk to the other ladies about the fact that men die first. And so, who's going to take care of you ladies when the men pass away? Another question, which I hate because I look at this question and I cry a little bit. Can you pick up your spouse out of bed? If the answer is no, we need to have a conversation around long-term care. I know my spouse can't pick me up. I can barely pick me up. So the fact of the matter is that is a conversation and that is a touch point that you can have with these type of clients because they're not thinking about it. The reason why we get paid so well in this industry is because it's so hard because people don't like to think about this type of stuff. So if we take what we're internalizing here from this design and this opportunity, we think about it and we talk about, proper designing of the plan. So I'm going to use my alma mater because I know it like the back of my hand. And let's say, for example, say our client wants accumulation. Okay. So I'm going to use the QOL max accumulator. I'm going to hit create client. And we're just going to use, fill again. Why not? I'm going to say I'm 40 this time around, and we'll just go with preferred non-tobacco and Tennessee resident. Very basic information. I'll increase this so everyone can see it okay. Now the next step is solve for. So what the carriers typically do is they open this up as an open concept to basically let you be the architect of your design. So if you want to bang your head against the wall and say, all right, well, I'll do 250 here and then I'll do 500 there, then you're going to drive yourself nuts. Joanna, you had a question? Yeah,
I'm so sorry. What is this solve for? I never saw it. Sorry.
No, you're fine. I was going to say, the idea is if I do solve for here and you see no solve, basically I'm doing everything. I'm figuring out the death benefit. I'm figuring out the premium. I'm figuring out everything. So I am doing all of the work myself. But if we go back to this page here, where we think about accumulation, I know the premium, I don't know the death benefit. Death benefit, I know the death benefit, not the premium. So what do I want to actually solve for? I want to solve for, in the case of an accumulation product, I want to solve for the face amount. I want the least amount of death benefit possible, which is face amount. And so now we go here and we see the tab right below says face solve option. Here, I want to do minimum face, no mech. So I want the least amount of death benefit possible. So I have less fees and more cash growth opportunity. And so I'm doing well for myself. I sample fill. I'm doing well for myself. So I want to put in, let's say, $1,000 a month or $12,000 a year. Now, if I leave it like this, then I will be paying premium for the rest of my life. So I want to click on the calendar here, and I want to stop after, let's say, 20 years when I turn 60. And if you guys saw this quickly, I double clicked here, I changed it to 20, and I just clicked off the screen, and then voila. Now I'm going to double click the 9,000 and hit 0. And now I am paying up to age 60 or 20 years, $12,000, and I'm trying to get the least amount of death benefit. Index strategy, this is all subjective, but if you guys know me well enough, I am not a fan of putting all my money into the MLSB. Matter of fact, I personally did 2020 60 in my own account for my kids because I have an 11.5% S&P and it's performed very well, so I can't complain. Now I'm going to skip disbursements for a second. I want to finish the total design here. When we put 12,000 in, we want that to increase, the death benefit increase, because if I left it at minimum face and level, then my policy would turn into a MEC, modified endowment contract. So I want the policy options to go increasing for the amount of time that I'm funding the contract. So I'm going to click off it, double click here and change it to level. Here's where you can change it to monthly if you want, but I'm not putting 12,000 in monthly. Now I'm going to go to the disbursements tab and I want to see what income I can get. So I'll check the box, click the calendar here and change it to age. So this is the one where I like changing it to age. And I'm going to go to 64 with nothing, no disbursements, 65 to let's say 89. And I want to click the down arrow where it says solve for max. I'm done here. I've got the premium, strategy, when I want to take income, and how long I have to show increasing for. Now hit calculate, and we're off to the races. So this one, again, income, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. You're going to have situations where some people will put in more, some will want to put in less. This is one where I ask people what type of budget they have per month that they want to put towards a vehicle that can give them potential tax-free retirement income. And they tell me, and I usually cut it in half because I want them to be so adamant that they want to put in the amount they told me. So later on, it's on them if they can't do it because we already went through that discussion. Now you'll see for 12,000 a month or a year, I get a death benefit so funky, 211,917. I'm paying for 20 years. I click on the PDF and we're going to go down. I'm just going to go right to the money page and we'll see. So right here, I've got 12,000 for 12 years. Now, again, as I mentioned before, this is not a short-term strategy. The carrier has to recoup losses. Every insurance carrier is losing money on every IUL they sell. That's why in 5 years I put 60,000 in. I only have 57,000 in cash. 10 years, 120. I have 138. So the crossover is about year 8 to 10, depending on how it's designed. But after that, the death benefit or the cash starts to explode because the fees go down. So this is a long-term, not a short-term play for customers. They can't look at 1 year and freak out. So in 20 years, at age 60, I stopped paying premium. I put in no premium after that. I put in a total of $240,000 over 20 years. And I have at a roughly a 6.5% return. I have about 423,000 in cash value. I'm going to let that cook. I'm not going to touch it yet. I'm going to start taking income at 65 at the tune of about $56,831 per year in tax-free income, assuming a 6.5% return. Now, I've showed in the past my boys' accounts, they're getting double-digit returns right now, or say high eights to 12.5%. So this is a hypothetical. This is not gospel. Can it go down? Yes. Can it go up? Yes. Can that happen in mutual funds? Yes. So it's a very similar conversation, but the benefit is it gives you death benefit in case you don't make it to retirement. It gives you living benefits in case you get sick along the way, and it gives you tax-free retirement income once you hit those golden years. So in theory or concept here, the idea is you should have several buckets to get you to retirement. This is one of them to help you supplement. If you talk to any financial advisor, and just to let you guys know if you didn't know, I am FINRA licensed. I'm just not registered with a broker dealer anymore because I hate FINRA. But when you go through the guidelines and the structure and the conversation, every time you talk about a portfolio, they talk about aggressive and conservative. Your aggressive can be considered stocks, mutual funds, it can be considered real estate, things like that that can have ups and downs. This would replace your conservative, which would typically be municipal bonds or traditional bonds, treasuries, things like that, because you can get a higher return, but you're not going to lose money from downside market risk. So I don't like when people say, this will outpace a 401k, this will outpace mutual funds. It complements the process. It's not meant to replace, it's meant to complement. So Netra, to kind of go back to what your question was, what's the best way to find out how to run these? Really, it's finding out what their budget is, and then ultimately tailoring it to their need. But what I would also do here is, this number is funky. This number is what I call the floor at 211. Phil is only 40, and most peak earning years are mid to late 40s, early 50s. So if I just went here and I clicked this copy button, I've taken everything from the first fill illustration, go back to solve for, and I'm going to change this to a no solve. Okay. Now, all of this stayed the same. The only thing that's going to change now is I'm going to manually enter in a number. Let's say 300,000. Okay. I'm increasing my death benefit by about $90,000. Everything else stays the same. Now I'm going to hit calculate. So, Mr. Resch, just to give you an idea here, we can do the lowest possible death benefit at around $211,000. What you'll get from that is more money going towards, cash accumulation versus cost of insurance. You can get an estimated $56,000, $56,800 from that scenario, but you're capped at the amount you can put in per year is $12,000. If, for example's sake, I increase this to $300,000, what's going to happen is I will tell you right off the bat that as a customer, you are going to pay a little more cost of insurance because the death benefit is higher. But let me explain to you why this is okay. First and foremost, if something happens to you, your death benefit is higher. So your spouse will get more money in case you don't make it home tonight. On top of that as well, your living benefits is higher. So if you get sick along the way, you will also have the ability to accelerate more death benefit. Furthermore, when we look at this and we look at the amount that you can put in per year, let's say you get a performance bonus. You can put an additional $4,890 per year in this product. So if you like the growth you're getting, you like the opportunity that you're getting, you could actually put more money into it later on. You could even, if you didn't pay the 4,890 extra that you could on this plan in the first year, you could double it up the next year. You could add it whenever you want. But let's just say nothing changes, okay? And you forget all the conversations we had. What we'll see here is the income went down from 56,800 to 55,363. So we're literally losing about, $100 a month. Am I doing that right? 1,500. So yeah, about a hundred bucks a month. Yeah, somewhere around there. So you're really not losing much. Okay. But you're getting more opportunity, more death benefit, and more living benefits. Now, between us girls and the wall and whoever watches this, you as a producer will also get a higher target because target's based off of face amount. So don't go egregious. Like I wouldn't go 211 to 500,000, but 211 to 300 or 325 would still give someone not a huge difference between the two, and you'll still get the benefits that they're looking for and paid a little bit more.
So I'm sorry, when do you start to thinking or talking to people about the living benefits?
The living benefits, I usually start off with that because a lot of people have never heard of it. So, have you ever heard of a policy that pays you even if you don't die? And that's where a lot of people are like, no. And and then after that, what you'll find is that um, you'll see that when it boils down to it, if I told you that you could get a payout in case you have a heart attack, stroke, or cancer, would you be interested? Absolutely. Because most people, that's the things I fear the most. A cancer that no one knows about until it's too late. A heart attack, like I thought I was going to have one in the plane today. So, stuff like that. So, it's part of the whole story. So, as you're building up the conversation, like it's part of the elevator pitch, in my opinion. So, Joanna, if we met for the first time and you said, well, what do you do, Phil? I would say I change people's lives. How do you do that? Well, I basically find ways to protect people while they're working. And if they don't make it to the retirement they deserve, we have a way to help protect against that too. And then once you get to retirement, or we help you get to the retirement you deserve by giving you ways to help you with tax-free retirement, guaranteed retirement, and also diversified portfolios. And once you've made too much that you're heating your great grandkids' pools, we find ways to hide it from Uncle Sam legally and ethically. So it's a way to bring your value proposition together for someone to digest the different things that you can do to ultimately lead to that whole value proposition. So it just depends. And like I say, the more you do it, and for anybody on this call who's like brand new and doesn't know how to talk to people, just talk to people, get your teeth kicked in. It's going to happen. If it makes you feel better, I lost a $35 million case because after a year and a half, the guy's like, I just don't want to do it. So yeah, yeah, only $800,000 in target, but stuff like that happens. So if I can have that roll off my back, like water off a duck's back, you guys can go talk to someone about term insurance. And if they say no, they're saying no to the product, not to you. So I say that for encouragement's sake. So yeah, Netcho, we'll switch over to the death benefit focus. So any face amount, like you thinking like $1 million or anything like that, or anything bigger, smaller?
500K is good. 500K.
500K? Okay. So 55, guaranteed age 90. All right. Yeah, we can do that. So let's dive in and talk about the flip side. We'll talk about the death benefit focus side. And so,
Before you move on to the death benefit focus,
yep,
there was a line item there that I still don't understand where it talks about face amount or face value reduction, and it's got a check mark against it.
that is what you call a item that the insurance carriers put in to make the income look better. I'm just being honest. So if I showed the max accumulator and there's a checkbox that says reduce the face amount, you'll see when I stop funding it, the death benefit goes like million, million one, million two. Then I stop funding it, it goes down to like 800,000. That's a manual calculation. So your client would have to call up the carrier, say, I'm done funding this policy. I want to reduce my death benefit as low as possible without it turning into a mech. What is that? And then they would have to do it that way. Everything that we change here, like the policy options, increasing to level to increasing, that's a manual thing. So anytime you do a LERP strategy, I would put an instruction manual with it. Nana, at this age, if we continue to do the funding the way it's projected, you're going to want to call the carrier or me, God willing, knock on wood, whatever, I'm still around and I'll take care of it for you. If I'm not around, call the carrier. This is what you have to do. 1 line, 2 lines, and you give them a sheet. So when you think about it, if you just bought a policy from someone and they went above and beyond to give you that extra sheet, which you can create templates, how cool would that be from a referral standpoint? So I would say that reduction of that checkbox is a manual thing that they would have to do at the time they choose to stop funding it. So a lot of people uncheck it because they know their clients aren't going to do that. But it's a design from the carriers to get to the top of the spreadsheet when it comes to income solves.
So you're saying whenever we're designing the product, uncheck that box.
That's the safest way.
Okay, gotcha.
Yep.
Yeah. So Phil, one question on this, like let's say customer completes their funding.
Yeah.
Meaning, let's say initially they plan to do for 10 years or 20 years, and then for some reason, 6 to 7 years, they feel like, okay, enough. So I cannot put more, whatever reason. So let's say after these 6 or 7 years, we can call up and say, hey, I'm done funding. Can you reduce my death benefit to the lowest minimum possible? And then just let it run.
Yep.
Does
They'll
does
enforce.
does it be like it's okay for all the carriers, or is there any conditions based on the carriers?
Well, there's going to be some limitations. So looking at Corebridge, some people try to do that in year two. And when you talk about year two, just remember these carriers are losing money for a good 7 to 10 years. So Corebridge might say, well, if you are going to cut your policy in half or want to, you're surrendering half your policy. Therefore, there's surrender charges for that. So oftentimes from your prior company, I would tell people switch it to level because they always did increasing, the whole conversation about the cash belongs to you kind of crap. So I would just say cut it to level. It reduces your cost of insurance and you don't have to cut your face amount to get surrender charges. So I would say, comfortably speaking, when I talk to people about LERPs, I say 10 years, like what are you comfortable funding for the next 10 years at least? Because I want to make sure that they can get past that point where the carrier might say, it's going to cost you money to lower your face amount. So, but yes, you can technically do that at year seven, if you need or want to, and find out what the options are. You can always choose not to do it.
Okay.
I have something to say, Phil, in continuation to that subject.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I have a same scenario happened to one of my old client. They had a 1035 funds transferred and now they don't want to make a premium payment. So the is the same Corbridge and that's a, max accumulator plan. So the process is there is a form like kind of is a long form. We as an agent we need to fill it out, submit it, and it goes through the underwriter. It takes around 45 days. I think they are checking. I'm not sure what they're going to check. I think then they're going to approve for it, I guess. So that's the process they told me.
Yeah, they're basically checking to see if there's any medical changes or issues. So the idea is that anytime you want to do an increase or decrease, sometimes an underwriter has to bless it. Same thing in new business. Like we had one person, they got approved for a preferred best at 500K. They're like, oh, this offer is great. I want $3 million. Well, $3 million triggered a doctor's records, and then they declined them straight up. So, it's all about proper planning and understanding too. And so like I had that $35 million case. The other agents were trying to propose 40 million total. And I said, well, this carrier is giving 35 million clean. Let's go with them, the best offer. And they're like, well, should we submit, 5 million elsewhere? I was like, why don't we get this through first and then go back for later? 'Cause, the old phrase, a bird in the hand is better than two in the bush. We don't know if they're actually in there. And, it can often lead to issues if you're trying to just continue to grab more. So, that's why I say, like, if you have an offer, they like the offer, take the offer. Then if you want more, try another carrier, or something like that, so you don't lose what you had. But yeah, in your case, Netra, if someone did that, then they would have to go back. Like, did the funds just come and then they chose they don't want to pay any more premium, or was it like a couple years later, or how was it set up?
So yeah, it's a for a juvenile policy. They
Okay.
have, they have around good amount of 1035 and they made a premium for around 5 years.
Okay, okay. So yeah, if I was to say the other way you could do it is if they were doing it increasing, change it to level and you wouldn't have to go through the underwriting scrutiny.
Definitely, always the best idea is to convert it to level
Yep,
because of the cost for any increase in policy. Yes.
absolutely. So let's dive into this. Mr. 55-year-old, we'll just be generous and say preferred, because I've seen a lot of Patels at 55 and they don't really look preferred, but we'll just go with that. Joking, of course. Don't kill me, Nana. So once again, we go to no solve here. Um, we're going to go to solve for premium because remember, we know the death benefit. Netra mentioned the death benefit is 500K. So we know the face amount. We're solving for the premium here, and we're going to do 500K. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So we'll see solve here. You can do guaranteed premium. So if you want that guarantee to go to 90, you can. Okay. And how many years you want to pay premium? First off, I'm going to change the index strategy, probably to 100% high cap. 10% high cap is pretty good for the protection product. We're going to keep it level. We're going to keep it simple. And I'm just going to keep it annual for this just because we can see the numbers right off the bat. Now, Netra, what I would do if I were you to analyze the numbers, solve for premium payments all years. Okay. Then I'm going to copy it. All I'm going to do is change this. So year, let's just say 15 years. Copy it. 20 years. Copy it one more time. I'll do 30 years. Why not? Well, 25 because that'll be 80. So for those who don't know, in WinFlex, if I can hit calculate over here and it'll calculate one, or I could check the box over here. All of them get checked. Drop down, calculate. It'll calculate all four at the same time. So as we run these, the objective is to have a death benefit guaranteed in that 0% column go to age 90. And then we want to figure out how much they're going to pay per year. Comparatively speaking, year one, they're paying the rest of their life. Year two, number two is 15 years, 20 and 25. So these will all go to age guaranteed 90, but they should last to 121 in the other column. So you'll see initial premium here, the cheapest is going to be the entire life. But for 25 years, it's literally only $1,100 more. Or if you want to pay 20 years from 56.55, it's about $2,400 more for, 20 years, or 10,000 for 15 years. So from a pricing standpoint, what I would say the sweet spot is probably the 20 or 25 year, give or take, from that standpoint. So it's not too much more than paying your entire life. The only way you would lose is if you died in these first 20 or 25 years. Other than that, you're going to win from an internal rate of return perspective on the death benefit. But I will pose one more here, and I will just say if we don't do the guaranteed premium, actually, tell you what, I'll show you this. Ready? I copy all of them. Whoa. Okay. But we're only going to work with the bottom ones. So 5, I'm going to do solve, max, solve, 15 years. And the difference here is the 0% column. Okay. Completely respect. Some people like to see that word guarantee. But as a 55-year-old, in order for the guarantee column to actually work, you'd have to have the market give 0% returns for over 20 years in most situations. And if they don't want to pay as much, the solve option is going to be better because you'll end up not paying as much as if you did for the guarantee to 90. Should be a dramatic difference. And I'm trying to stall, but it takes forever sometimes for these quotes to run. So let's see what we got here. So the other guarantee was a total of 35 years guaranteed in the 0% column. And then here, okay, so premium design for the solve is actually more expensive, but let's see, premium pay years. So this must mean it lapses. Let me check something here. Sorry, I'm going fast. Yeah, that lapsed at 108, so it's not going to last much longer than that. This one, 25-year pay premium, 34 years guaranteed, or 35 years guaranteed. So I can save him about $200 for one less per year for 25 years. And it's a guaranteed 89 versus 90. And the policy will go all the way to 121. It should there too, but let's see. So 20 pay, 33 or 35. I'm saving them $700 a year. And then 32 or 35, I'm saving them $1,500 a year. So the guarantee to 90 is cool and all. Again, relative, because if you think about people, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. You can show them two options and say, which one do you want? But for example's sake, myself, the average male lives between 78 to 82. And you're telling me that the cheapest possible premium to have this policy go no matter what to 87, I would rather pay that lower number because I know I'm probably not going to make it to 87. But we're also assuming that the market is going to be zero or negative for 32 years for that to happen and guaranteed charges from day one, which isn't happening anyway. So the hard part is just kind of expressing that because you got a New York Life agent chirping in their other ear, oh, your policy's going to run out at this age. Well, it's not, but you just have to kind of explain the other columns. So, I don't know, Netra, did that answer your question or give you a little, idea?
Yes, I got it.
Okay.
Because sometimes uh, they, even though they buy the policy from us, they still shop around and they always compare. They want guarantee as well as they want the cheaper premium. So I always wanted to give the best, right?
Yeah.
So win-win situation in both scenarios. So
Yeah.
maybe that idea.
Yeah. You could even cheapen this cost too. It would reduce the guarantees though, but if they wanted it to run out at 105, it would cheapen the cost, but the guarantee might go from 87 to 83, which in my opinion is still okay.
It's
But
okay. So in sometimes what I say is, why do you want to pay more from the beginning? Even though if you can always see your statement, right? When the guarantee column is coming closer, instead of paying premium 20 years, you can pay another 2 years if you want to, so that it will go more, it will carry over another 3 to 5 years.
exactly. And why pay more now? Because
Exactly. Yes, it
20
will.
years is a long time.
Correct.
You
Correct.
know,
Yes, yes.
when you think about us as kids, you go from diapers to drinking legally, that's a long time. So, but yeah, you're right with that. It just really depends on the customer. So if they want extra, they just have to pay extra. But I can guarantee you this, even the North American Builder 2, Protection Builder 2 still has higher costs than the Value Plus Protector. So, from a conceptual standpoint, if you want to guarantee to 100, we can do it with this or the North American Protection Builder. But the perk on having the Protection Builder is some people, as we all know, people in the Indian community have a touch of the sugar sometimes, and AIG doesn't play too well in the sandbox with diabetes. So always good to have several carriers.
Sure, and nowadays it's becoming the protection builder too is become such a hype in the market. So I wanted to know the difference in your next session if you can show the illustration difference in the value plus and the protection builder too, the
Yeah,
differences.
yeah,
Yes.
we could definitely do that. So I have no problem showing that off and kind of going through those scenarios because, like I said, this is all of this is the iron sharpens iron. You guys come with questions, and we'll keep rocking and rolling. So,
Yeah,
um,
one quick update on that. So recently I placed a case for this. So when running illustrations, what I see is between Production Builder 1 and 2, the premium is slightly less in the Production Builder 2. And also from a North American Production Builder 2, you have the return of premium at 15 and 20, whereas Value Protector Plus, it's 20 and 25, meaning After 25 years, you can take out 100% return of premium, whereas with North American, it is 20 years.
Okay.
So you can take out half of it at 15 years.
So half the return of premium at 15 years or full?
15, 15
years.
half, 20 full.
Okay, good. Okay, so that's the something new, I think. So okay, great. Thank you so much.
Teamwork makes the dream work, baby. That's why I love these calls. So, all right. Well, I will say this. We've gone for an hour and a half and we've still maintained most people. We had some drop-offs, but it's okay. I'm not crying. What do you guys think? You guys good for now? Ears steaming? You got or is this good stuff?
Good stuff today. Thank you, Phil, so much.
Quite an eye opener.
Good. That's see, Nana. I was like, I always love hearing when you say eye openers and wows, So I'll start where I end. I'll end where I started. If you haven't registered yet, tgcconference.com. It's in the chat session. Love to have you guys there. And like I said, David McKnight, I gotta try and find a way to put him in the schedule too now and see if we can do that. It was just a surprise to see that come through and see what we can do. So anyway, I appreciate the time tonight, guys. I gotta get to bed because I'm gonna do that lunch and learn tomorrow. So appreciate everyone showing up. We'll do the same bad time, same bad schedule next week. And you guys have a great time. Yeah, Joanna.
Thank you. Thank you.
No problem.
I'm sorry, I have a quick question. If you can please, because I'm new into this industry and I don't know the names.
Sure.
Can you give like a sample of this IMOs and BGAs? Which companies are those?
Yeah, so the IMOs, so if we had, let me see if I go back up. Some sample IMOs, those were Libra, Libra. Okay. Actually, I'll just show you. I'll use the internet. So Libra is the top organization. Oh, sorry, let me do Libra Insurance. Insurance partners. So Libra, as I mentioned before, they don't onboard agents, they onboard agencies. So you would see relationship partners like they have them all across the country. So Three Mark is in Houston area. So you'll see them all here. Milner. I used to work with Milner and that's funny. It says Integrity Company. So all these companies that are scrolling across here, those are what you would call BGAs, brokerage general agencies. They get contracts from Libra. And so there's tons of them. You just have to find the one that fits you the best from the value proposition standpoint. I like ours because I can create affiliate contracts and affiliate opportunities, but it's not, like anything, it's not one size fits all. But a lot of these companies that I actually used to wholesale to, we're all part of the same higher organization. So there's Libra. Let's see, there's iGroup, Life Insurance. Yeah, so iGroup is another one. I think they're based out of South Carolina. This guy's a jerk. I mean, I forgot I'm recording this. He's okay. He's okay. He lives in my area. So he would never answer my calls. But anyway, iGroup's another one. You've got Ash Life Insurance. So Ash Brokerage, all these different companies. So these are all your IMOs. And then again, the layer below them. So that's what I was saying. Three Mark used to be part of IDA, Insurance Designers of America, but IDA got bought out by Libra to make this giant super PAC. So they're the biggest in the industry. Does that help? No problem.
Yes, thank you so much.
No problem. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate you guys sticking on. Holler if you have any questions, you need anything. And have a great night.
Thanks, Phil.
Bye, Phil.
See you guys.
Thank you. Thanks.